Who have we got sitting up for this one? It's too late, we've moved on now, Yanni. No, don't worry, I was just joking, it was humour. Don't you recognise humour?
No. That's why I said thanks for waiting. Did you not hear that?
All right, Yanni.
I guess the concern I've got, and I appreciate the work that the hearing panel's done. There was a submission concerned about freedom camping at the Sumner, next to the Sumner Surf Lifesaving Club, and just wanted to check what the hearing panel's response has been, because as you become more extreme across other areas of the city, I wonder what that will do to areas that I couldn't find any discussion around what you've done to mitigate that risk to those other areas that some people did make submissions on, concerned about the implications. So, was there any discussion about this? Because in the maps that we've got, there's nothing about the Sumner area, which is a historic area where we have had complaints.
Yeah, so there was some discussion on adding more restricted or prohibited areas, and there was also discussion on where we could or how we could put some wider blanket restrictions. And the legal advice we received on that, in a general sense, was that under the legislation, we're not able to create a bylaw that deals with problems that don't exist. So if in areas where there wasn't a problem or there wasn't a reported problem, it made it very difficult for us to put additional prohibitions in place. In the context of where we've made areas prohibited or where we've put restrictions, where that causes a spillover into other areas of freedom campers, we've addressed that by making sure that there are appropriate places where freedom camping is allowed. So, for example, the windsurf park would be one area that is green on the map, which if somebody was heading out of town in that direction, we would hope that that's where they would head to. But the other way that we've addressed it is that if we do have any unintended outcomes, so if we do find that we've caused displacement issues that we weren't anticipating, so all of a sudden we get people freedom camping along the waterfront at Redcliffs or whatever it might be, we do have that provision for a review after 2 years rather than 5 that allows us to address those issues sooner rather than later. And you'll note that one of the resolutions has got a report coming back to Dave's committee at the end of this first summer season, so that we get an early heads up on any displacement issues and therefore any need for further enforcement or things that we need to be looking at that review stage.
So,
Paul,
sorry, I'm just trying to understand that, because like if you take the central city, there've been almost no complaints around the south of Litchfield area, and yet you've got Sumner, which has had numerous complaints around freedom camping. So I sort of struggle to understand, and I personally would feel uncomfortable that if we had to review it in 2 years, if we get a huge influx of people going into Sumner, and again, because we just got the maps, I can't see is there no prohibition around the Sumner?
Well, no, that's slightly incorrect, because Sumner will be an area that is restricted to self-contained freedom camping. So any camper van that turned up that was not self-contained could be moved on immediately, or slapped with a fine. But the rest of the city, predominantly, well, it is a self-contained 2 nights only area. So effectively what we have done is to ban non-self-contained camping anywhere in the city apart from the Brooklands area, Windsurf Park and Addington Park. Anywhere else in the city, there is nowhere that freedom camping, unless you are self-contained, is permitted.
did you want to add to that?
Just to add, if it might be helpful to have a look at map 23, which is the general map for...
That stops at 22.
Oh.
So maybe that's the problem.
Yes, well, map 23 shows the... I'll bring it over if I may. Yep. So, yeah, so just to confirm really what Councillor East has just said, that within that area, camper vans are restricted to, camping is restricted to self-contained only for 2 nights in any 30-day period. Yeah.
Okay, Paul?
Mine was actually the same. It was just about the displacement of these freedom campers. Even self-contained freedom camping does actually itself bring issues around noise and activity in areas sometimes we don't want them. It's taken up. Big RV pulls up outside along the Esplanade and some blocks the view and you could get several of them parking up along there. So it was just those sort of concerns that I have, and I'm, looking at the thing overall, I'm very pleased to see that you've actually done quite a bit of work to actually address and maintain the issue. So I'll just have to wait with bated breath to see how it rolls out over the summer.
Okay, now I do want to kind of conclude the debate. So did you have another question?
Yes.
Yep, okay, yep.
I just want to clarify this quickly because obviously people see this and draw parallels with the issue we're dealing with street workers with bylaws. This is on City Council and dock land only, yeah? Right.
So actually City Council.
City Council
that's
only.
Land owned or managed by the City Council.
Right, so I just needed to ask that to make it really clear because that is one of the key issues as to why this can't just be translated into a street worker bylaw. Thank you.
It's also made under a specific act, Freedom Camping Act.
Right, thank you.
Yep. All right, so is there any further debate? Yanni?
Again, I commend the work of the hearing panel. I do have some concerns, and I guess we'll just, as my colleague said, we'll just wait and see what happens. But I do think, fundamentally, we want tourism and we want visitors to our city. We're doing a whole visitor strategy, and the reality is that self-contained or non-self-contained vehicles, people coming into our city, freedom camping is actually part of the visitor culture that exists in New Zealand. So I have a little bit of concern about the central city. I can't personally understand why you would ban freedom camping from the industrial areas within the central city. It does seem a bit odd, particularly when you've had no complaints. Other parts of the central city that have been problematic in the past, like Grimna Square, I can totally understand why you would consider having some sort of restrictions. So thanks to the hearings panel for the work that they've done on it. I mean, obviously Paul and I will be watching it to see what happens in our area. Still have a bit of concern that by prohibiting it across a wider area, you will concentrate the problem into other areas. So we'll wait and see, and hopefully that doesn't eventuate. But if it does, hopefully we can have a quicker response than waiting for 2 years.
Very good. I'll put the motion then. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you very much. And thank you for all of your work on that.